And so I'm going to share some thoughts and ideas with you. And I just want to make it clear that as I share these ideas, just be open to the possibilities. Now, it let you also know that, God has a sense of humor. I'm 7 years old and I have hot flashes. Seriously, I'm going through a decancering program and I have hot flashes. I travel with a fan and a blanket. I call them power surges. So at any time you see me perspiring a lot, I'm a Mickey Mouse fan, have a Mickey Mouse watch, and this is my little pat myself down, when I start perspiring. You got to have a sense of humor. Let us say together, have some fun. Yes. Now, the other thing is that I want you to think about 3 major goals that you'd like to achieve. Something that's important to you. I'm thankful to this industry. I'm thankful to Eric and Marina for the work they've put together, because were it not for this industry, I would not be who I am before, who I was. I would not be the person that I am now. Because of this industry, people like Glenn Turner, most of you never heard this name, Dare to Be Great, Holiday Magic, Best Line Products, Bill Bailey. Because of this industry, doing presentations, talking to people about a dream and how they can begin to step out of working for someone else to work for themselves, I had no idea that my life would be where it is right now. I don't know you, but here's what I know about you, based upon my own experience, that you have something special. You have greatness within you. Here's what I know about you. There's certain kinds of people who say yes when they're presented with this opportunity, because this is not for everyone. This is not for the faint at heart. This is for people who have goals and dreams that they want to achieve. When I became involved in this industry, that's where I was. I was born in a poor section of Miami, Florida called Liberty City, with a twin brother in an abandoned building on a floor. When we were 6 weeks of age, we were adopted by Mrs. Mimi Brown. I feel like Abraham Lincoln said, all that I am and all that I hope to be, I owe to my mother. And my mother, she worked on Miami Beach. She cleaned homes, and she kept children, and she cooked for families. We ate the food left over from the families that she cooked for. These people were very kind and generous. I said, Mimi, whatever food is left over after we eat, you can pack it up and take it home to those children that you have adopted. She kept their children, and we wore the hand-me-down clothes of the children that she kept. And as a kid, I remember walking around these big, beautiful mansions and said, Mama, what is it, Leslie? When I become a man, I'm going to buy you a big, beautiful home, just like this. How many ever have someone in your life that you want to do something special for? Raise your hands, please. Very good. I'm going to share with you how you can make that happen. And I want you to think about goals in your personal life, and I want you to think about your financial goal. What is it? I want you to think about that financial freedom number. How much money do you want to earn that as a result of your earning that, it alleviates a lot of stress. As a result of earning that, it allows you to become debt-free. As a result of earning that, you'll be able to contribute to causes that you believe in, and be able to take care of family members, and be able to have more time for yourself and your family. I want you to think about your financial freedom number. When people say money won't make you happy, but everybody want to find out for themselves. Friend and I mean, Rita Davenport said money ain't important, but it's right up there with oxygen. And let me tell you something, fellas, even if you're as humble as I am, you got some money, women will find something cute on you. Oh, my boyfriend got eyelashes like Denzel Washington, honey. He's got earlobes like Tom Cruise. I used to be so broke I'd walk past a bank and trip the alarm. Creditors would call the house and my children would answer the phone and say, my daddy said he ain't home. Oh my God. Being broke is a trip. So I want you to think about your financial freedom number. Everybody right now, as you think about it, hold up your right index finger. Good. You don't do anything else. Do this. Now put it in your ear. Put it in your ear. And just listen to me. I just want you to listen to me. You have something special. You have greatness within you. You have the ability to do more than anything you could ever begin to imagine. There's an entrepreneur in you. You have million-dollar ideas, billion-dollar ideas in you. There are people waiting to hear your voice. You have a vision of yourself doing more, achieving more, taking care of your family, making your mark, leaving a legacy. You will never be stressed or challenged financially. You were born to be rich. You know that it's in your DNA. You were born to be successful. Take your finger out. And the reason I wanted to do that, I didn't want to go in one ear and out the other. As you think about your goals, us Wesley and I, which one am I, on the right or the left? Left, I'm the Cuban, of course. That's my beginning. I share this with you because I want you to say something with me with power and conviction. Let us say together, it's not where you start. It's where you're going. There's some of you here who cannot afford to be here, but there was something in you that said, I can't afford not to be here. And you've got here. You showed up. There was something in you that said, I've got to make this happen. There's something in you that said, there's a bigger life waiting for me, calling my name. There's something in you that says, I'm on my way to a greater life. Give yourselves a round of applause. Yes, 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 yes. And whoever brought you in the business, make sure you find them and say thank you, because they saw something. They saw greatness in you. They saw something. They saw that it factor. There's something in you. There's another part of yourself that you will never discover unless you align yourself with positive, motivated people who have goals and dreams beyond working at a job where they pay you just enough to keep you from quitting, beyond you're working just hard enough to keep from getting fired. There's something in you that says, I'm not going to go through life allowing somebody to control my financial future. There's something in you that says, I'm not going to work at a place where I have to go and ask for permission when I can go on vacation. There's something in you that says, I'm not mentally fit to work for somebody for the rest of my life. Give yourselves a round of applause. Yes, yes. And think it not strange when you have goals and dreams that you'll face the fiery furnaces of this world. Do not be surprised that family members and friends and people who should be there to encourage you and to motivate you, that they will try and discourage you. They'll call it a pyramid scheme or some kind of get-rich-quick scheme. People who can help you out and won't help you out because they know too much about you. And they don't believe, they can't see this new you. Don't allow those negative naysayers, the people who are suffering from possibility blindness, to stop you. Had I listened to them, I would not be standing here. Had I listened to them, I would not be traveling around the world, living my dreams and not my fears. There's something in you that says yes to your life, yes to a greater future. Give yourselves a round of applause. Yes, yes, yes. And as you think about your goals and dreams, your personal goals, your financial goals, and whatever that number is, I want you to multiply it 100 times. And I want to warn you, don't ask yourself how you're going to do it. How is none of your business. My favorite book says, lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. There are things you can do that you don't know right now. So don't worry about how. That's none of your business. And I want you to think about your financial contribution, but also your legacy. What will be different? This stage of my life, I'm training and teaching people how to tell their story, how to make a difference in the lives of others, how to become an effective communicator. How many would love to do that? Raise your hands, please. It makes all the difference in the world, teaching people the techniques and strategies that I learned that allowed me to build an organization with hundreds of thousands of people. This stage of my life, I'm 70. Don't I look good for 70? Come on, yeah, absolutely. And I don't use mascara, I don't use dye to cover my hair because of the fact that I have an allergic reaction to dye, but I do use mascara. My kids say, Daddy, you look distinguished with your gray hair. I said, at 70, I'm not trying to look distinguished, I'm trying to look young. Sometimes, Tony, you got to hook this up. Yes, that's oh my God. Yeah, people say, I can't believe he's doing that. Now, you're going to need a paintbrush. You're going to need a Let me tell you, I got to tell you this. I had to give this speech in the Georgia Dome called It's Not Over Till I Win. In fact, you just emailed me, go to letsridemotivation.com, and you can see it free. So anyhow, at the end of my presentation, somebody was there and said, Mr. Brown, our speaker canceled on the last minute. Said, do you have enough energy to give another speech? And I said, no, I'm tired. He said, we can pay your full fee. I said, the Lord is able. You know, Red Fox said money can't buy you happiness, but it can make a big down payment, you know? So they took me over to the Georgia World Congress Center, Ken, and when I looked in the room, people were very close to the stage. And I said, can I go to the restroom for a minute? They said, yes. I went to the restroom, and I took my mascara out. I was sweating and perspiring, getting it all touched up. And so when I came in the room, the lady wanted everybody to know that she knew me. She said, there he is, Les Brown. And I walked up on the stage, and she kissed me on the cheek, and I kissed her on the cheek and left this big black smudge on her face. I didn't know what to do, so I just sat down. So the people down front started saying, there's something on your face. And she looked at me, she said, what are they saying? I said, I don't know. Finally, one nosy lady came on there, opened up her purse, gave her a mirror. Now, nobody asked her to do that. Getting in the Kool-Aid, don't know the flavor. She looks at me, she said, how did this get here? I said, I don't know, you think maybe this rubs off? So afterwards, when I kiss you, do not be alarmed. I now use waterproof mademoiselle, all right? A brother's got to do what he's got to do. So I want you to think about your goals and dreams, your personal goals, your financial goals, growing your organization, recruiting more people, developing your skills as a communicator. I want you to think about your social contribution. Part of what I'm doing is teaching people how to tell their story, but also teaching people that you are more powerful than cancer. I'm a 19-year cancer conqueror because of God's grace and mercy. I think that doctors should never tell someone they're terminally ill. What they should say is, my knowledge and ability to help you has terminated. Now you need to explore some other options. At this stage of my life, I'm training people how to work with young kids. How many of you have children? Raise your hands, please. I'm teaching them how to develop their mindset, how to become effective communicators, how to begin to dress like a prospect and not a suspect, how to select friends that's an asset to them rather than a liability in technology, how they can begin to use their skills and talents today rather than going out beating the pavement looking for a job. Teach them how to learn how to develop their own personal economy by doing what you're doing right now. And I believe that we can create a different future for our children when we work together to create communities of collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. And that's what you're doing here now. That's what Eric and Maria Dana wanted to do, creating communities of collaborative, achievement-driven relationships. And as you think about your goals and dreams right now, let us say together, it's possible. Yeah, say it again, it's possible. See, preparing to come up and speak to you, that was not challenging. But let me share with you what it took me years to do, was to believe that I can do it, given my circumstances. Born, abandoned, living on a floor, being adopted. If both my birth parents stood up now and said, "Hey, son," I would not recognize either one. Being labeled educated, mentally retarded when I was in the 5th grade, and put back from the 5th grade into the 4th grade, and failed again when I was in the 8th grade. Being raised in poverty, how you live your life is a result of the story you believed about yourself. And so being in the environment where I was born, that was my reality of being poor. I was stuck. How many have been stuck? Raise your hands, please. And so as entrepreneurs, as leaders, I'm going to share with you what it is you do and the power of speaking. Write this down. Distract. See, when you as an entrepreneur, when you present the business, don't go in just trying to sell people on the business. No. What your goal is to sell them on a new story. How people live their lives is a result of the story they believe about themselves. When you show up, you do what Mr. Washington did for me. Write this down. You distract them from their current story. And never forget the gentleman I eulogized a few weeks ago when I first met him. He said, "Young man, go to the board to work this problem out for me." I said, "Oh, sir, I can't do that." "Why not?" "I'm not one of your students." "Look at me." "Yes, sir." "Go to the board and work the problem out anyhow." "I can't, sir." "Why?" The other students started laughing. "He's DT. He's a twin. His brother's smart. His sister, she's smart. But he's DT. "What's DT?" "He's a dumb twin." And I said, "I am, sir." As the students laughed, and he came from behind his desk, he looked at me. He said, "Don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality." And so that was a turning point in my life. On one hand, I was humiliated, but on the other hand, I was liberated. Because he looked at me with the eyes of Goethe, who said, "Look at a man the way that he is, he only becomes worse. But look at him as if he were what he could be, then he becomes what he should be." And so when you approach someone about this business, what you're doing is you are interrupting their current story. And when they come to an opportunity meeting, or when you make the presentation of what the possibilities are and how they can change their financial income, you're dismantling their limited belief system and begin to allow them to become, as Mother Teresa would say, inspired. Distract, dispute, and inspire to become like a pencil in the hand of God and start writing a new chapter in their lives. You're selling them a story of hope. You're selling them a story of possibility. You're selling them a story of controlling their own personal economy. Give yourselves a round of applause. Come on, bring your energy level up. And that's what we do as entrepreneurs. That's what you do when you make a presentation. How important is that? That's major. That's major. More people died, according to the CDC, last year from, listen to this, suicide than from traffic accidents. People have lost hope. When you speak, you're giving people hope. When there's hope in the future, that gives you power in the present. When you speak with conviction, when you speak strategically and tell the story of why you said yes, tell the story and how you saw this opening up the door for a new life for yourself. Is it easy? Of course it's not easy. It's challenging. It requires patience. It requires persistence. It requires a willingness to do whatever is required to create a new life for yourself. Give yourselves a round of applause for giving people another shot, another chance. And see, I didn't do what I'm doing now for 14 years because I assumed I couldn't do it because I had never done it before. There are people who can tell you no. They're living off an assumption. They assume because they've never done it before, they can't do it. Or they assume because they've been involved in the business before and things didn't work out, and so this won't work out. I didn't do what I'm doing now because I assumed because I don't have a college education. I assumed because I had to compete with people with PhDs and MBAs. I assumed because of my lack of education, I could not compete. How many of you ever decided not to do something based upon an assumption? Raise your hands, please. And so that's why it's important for us to be strategic and experiential and being able to tell the story to distract them from their current story, distract, dispute, break down the limited belief system, and inspire them to say yes to a new opportunity in their lives. And so as a result, I didn't do what I'm doing now, because I had such a tremendous inferiority complex because of my lack of college education. I stopped myself. As an African proverb that says there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. And so as you look at yourself, as you look at your goals, and look at your dreams, it's very important that you take time every day and write this down to retrain your thinking. You got to retrain your thinking. Because how we live our lives is a result of the story that we bought into. I had to retrain my thinking because of what I saw. Studies indicating that the decisions we make in life is directly related to the things that we saw, the things that we experienced, the conversations we've been exposed to between age 0 and 5. And so as a result of that, my experience, I had to begin to engage in a process of retraining my mindset. And I didn't even know what I was doing. But this man, Mr. Siderski, I'll never forget. Leslie, come in here. Yes, sir. Look at my shoes. You can shine them better than this. I do apologize, sir. I'll do a better job. And his wife said, please don't yell at him like that. That's not nice. He's just a kid. He's only 10 years old. He should do a better job than that. He can. I said, it's okay, Mr. Siderski. And he should have yelled at me. He was a very rude, arrogant guy, but he was a kind guy, too. What I loved about him, every day he had a routine. It was this time in the morning he spent working on his mind. And I wanted to be in the office as he was shining his shoes, listening to Earl Nightingale. All of us are self-made, but only the successful will admit it. Listening to Dr. Dennis Waitley, people form habits and habits create futures. Listening to Zig Ziglar, if you give enough people what they want, they will give you what you want. Listening to Jim Rohn, when the end comes for you, let it find you conquering a new mountain, not sliding down an old one. Listening and reading the words of Winston Churchill, the truth is incontrovertible. Malice may attack it, ignorance be derided, but at the end, there it is. Reading from my favorite book, Be Not Conformed to This World, Be Transformed by the renewing of your mind. Listening to these words help to create a different vision for myself. Some of you are already doing it right now. I'm saying this is a time more than ever that you want to begin to inoculate yourself with positive words, coming to conventions, showing up in meetings, being on the calls, to make yourself unstoppable, to get out of your mind the polluting negative thoughts that's causing most people to go through life being stuck because they're volunteer victims. Somebody said that many people die at age 25 and don't get buried until they're 65 because they got so much garbage in their minds. You're here because you've got a clear vision of what you want and where you're going. Give yourselves a round of applause. Come on, bring your energy level up. Yes. Yes. You want more. You want more. You're different. You're different than everybody else. Don't worry if they don't get it. Don't try and convince people to do this business. A person convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. You are not like everybody else. You can walk outside and find pigeons, but if you're looking for eagles, it's going to take you a minute. You are different. It's lonely at the top. How many of you know it's lonely at the top? Raise your hands. It's lonely at the top, but you eat better. That's what I'm talking about. You're different. One great entrepreneur said, I choose not to be a common man. It's my right to be uncommon if I can. I seek opportunity, not security. I do not wish to be a kept citizen, humbled and dulled by having the state look after me. I want to take the calculated risk, to dream and to build, to fail and to succeed. I refuse to live from hand to mouth. I prefer the challenges of life to the guaranteed existence, the thrill of fulfillment to the still calm of utopia. I will never cower before any master, nor bend to any threat. It's my heritage to stand erect, proud and unafraid, to face the world boldly and say, this I have done. You showed up because you're building a business that you can stand and say, I did this. I did this. This is my dream. Give yourselves a round of applause. Yes, 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 yes. Yes. There's something in you that wouldn't allow you to stop. Dr. Howard Thurman, he said there's something in each and every one of you that waits and listens to the voice of the genuine in yourself. It will be perhaps the only guide you will ever have. And if you cannot hear it, all of your life, your days will be spent on the ends of strings that somebody else pulls. And I say to you, the reason you showed up, even though you couldn't afford to be here, the reason you drove hundreds of miles, flew around the world, there's something in you, in your heart of hearts that said, I'm not going to let anybody pull my strings. It said, I'm going to control my own personal economy. It said, I've got a dream I want to achieve. I want my children to have a choice of the kind of education that they want. That said, I am the captain of my ship. That said, I'm going to control my destiny. And whatever it takes, I'm willing to do the work. Give yourselves a round of applause. (1961), President John F. Kennedy had a decision to make. The decision was whether or not to call a news conference and tell the world the United States was going to go to the moon. And I submit to you that the decision to do that was very risky. And what governed his thinking is what governed your thinking when you decided, I'm going to do this. See, the technology did not exist. The answer of what will it take did not exist. No one had ever done it before. But he made a decision. He looked at Wernher von Braun, the most brilliant scientist of that day, and he said, Wernher, what will it take for us to go to the moon? And he spoke 5 words. And those 5 words, I think, is what governs most entrepreneurs. Those 5 words, I think, is what give people like you the courage to pursue their dreams. Those 5 words is what I think people who are pioneers, people who are breaking new ground, make decisions on. He said, what will it take for us to go to the moon? And the response was, the will to do it. As you look at yourself, as you look at your business, as we look into 2015 and beyond, what will it take for you to increase your business? The will to do it. What will it take for you to become more powerful in your presentation skills and be able to increase the number of people, to quadruple your business? The will to do it. What will it take for you when others are quitting because of the rejections, when others are stopping because they just become so discouraged and they have creditors breathing down their neck and they have family members and friends telling them they're free? What is it that will allow you to have the mental resiliency to keep on keeping on, to keep your commitment to your commitment? The will to do it. Every time I say it and ask you a question, I want you to say the will to do it. What will it take for you to build your business? What will it take for you to increase your recruiting? What will it take for you to bring out the greatness in you and to make your mark? What will it take for you to become a high achiever and to bring out the billionaire in you? Shake someone's hand on your right and left and say, I've got the will. I've got the will. Mr. Washington, this man who taught me, he said, Mr. Brown, you want to make it in life? He said, number one, develop your mind. You don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. Number two, develop your communication skills. Once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. Three, practice the principle of OQP. Only quality people. Let us say together, only quality people. As you think about your goals and dreams, this is not for everybody. You want to build an organization with only quality people. Not people who need more, but people who want more. You want to surround yourself with people that are hungry. People that are hungry are willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. People that are hungry do what they know, not what they feel. See, I didn't do this for years because I knew it would be hard. And Mr. Washington said something to me. Mike Williams, my mentor, you want to go online and find his book, The Road to Your Best Stuff. He said something that grabbed me, and I want you to put this someplace where you can see it. See, you build this business through persistence. You got to affirm, I will persist until I succeed. You build it through patience. It takes time to grow orchids. It's faster to grow roses, but orchids, that takes time. You have to have persistence, you have to have patience and perseverance. It takes courage to come back again and again and again. Because in order to build the business, it's hard work. It's H-A-R-D and H-E-A-R-T. Are you with me there? Write this down. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, your life will be easy. If you do what is easy, point out, oh, this is some pyramid scheme. Oh, I've been talking to people and nobody's interested. I talked to people and they said no. Oh, I've done that before. Come up with excuses. If you do what is easy, always looking for a way to give yourself a pass, to let yourself off the hook, to do what everybody else is doing, a job, the journey of the broke. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. People working the jobs that they hate. The heart attack rate on Monday morning between 6 o'clock and 10 o'clock increases by 35%. People going to jobs that they hate. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. Working 2 and 3 jobs for one paycheck and no job security. But there's something in you that says, you know, I'm making some good money, but you know what? I can't do this. I can't do this anymore. Feminine, she's here. I'm so honored to be in her presence. Kim Reed. She went to do a presentation, drove from Los Angeles to San Francisco. And 20 people in the room, and they said, yes, she's an electrifying speaker, great presenter. Yes. And when she left, the Dream Busters took the floor. And when the Dream Busters finished with those people who had goals and dreams of a new life, they sabotaged Kim. And they called her before she could get home and said, no, we're not going to do it. And at that moment, she could have quit.
So everybody can transform a kind of inconvenience in a huge advantage.
Without any question, and it takes work. Now, there's no question that there are certain situations and structures around the world that don't allow people to dream. You know, I'm doing some work in South Africa right now, Johannesburg, and my first step is to help people to learn how to dream, because they were under apartheid, a form of enslavement that did not make dreaming possible. And there are other places around the world that are just like that right now, just destroying people's dreams. And I think that's why we see such global upheaval in terms of many dictatorships, because people are becoming more enlightened. In 2007, Time magazine recognized the computer of the person of the year. And the reason it did, because it gives everyday people access to information that they never had before. And so now people, with that access of information, becoming more enlightened, and is causing a great deal of disturbance with various types of governments around the world.
It's huge. My message in France, and I would like to spread that everywhere, it's you have a dream, it's possible, so take an action now. How can I help people to believe it's possible?
It's an ongoing process. The faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing. That's what my favorite book says. That you have to be an unreasonable person who's not looking at and judging the circumstances such as you see them. But you're calling forth those things that be not as though they were. And if you read the book called Change or Die by David Dushman,
I will do.
He said there is a person who is an unreasonable person who brings a message that it's possible and repeat that message. And there are people who hear that message who are able to relate to it and identify with it. And then they begin to move from and develop a whole approach to life with that new level of enlightenment, that as he speaks or she speaks, it begins to give people a vision of themselves beyond their circumstances and their mental conditioning, and challenging them to begin to embrace some habits that cause them to make some new choices that will help them to carve out and become the architect of their future, as opposed to becoming volunteer victims.
Great. You do a lot of speeches all around the world, and you are not the only speaker. A lot of speakers. So, according to you,
I'm a trainer. I'm known as a speaker, but my gifting is I started out as a trainer, teaching people how to live their dreams, teaching them how to use their voice and their story and leverage their knowledge to go from being local to being global. That's what my gifting is in.
So, as a trainer, why there are some speaker or trainer who give only a kind of information, at the end you say, oh, it's interesting, and other speakers like you, according to me, and you feel something and you're not thinking about, oh, it's interesting, but I can do that. I want to take an action. I want to change something in my life. I don't know if it was interesting, but I will change something in my life. But that's the difference.
Well, there are many speakers think that people are stuck because of lack of information. I always say, if information could change people, everybody would be skinny, rich, and happy. They don't need us to come in and speak. They can go online, they can Google the information. So information alone cannot create transformation. That in order to change human behavior, you have to create a significant emotional event. The materials that I provide, the training that I provide, is designed to impact a person's mind, their heart, and their spirit. And so the goal is to distract, dispute, and inspire, to interrupt their story. How people live their lives is a result of the story they believe about themselves. So when I'm training speakers, I teach them how to become a strategic, experiential storyteller. Be strategic on how they use their story. You never make a point without a story, and you never tell a story without a point. And experiential, because Oliver Wendell Holmes said that once a man or woman's mind has been expanded with an idea, concept, or experience, it can never be satisfied to going back to where it was. And so when you take that approach, that change how they think and what they feel, then you now have positioned yourself to begin to create a thirst. There's no saying you can take a horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. You create a thirst where they want to drink, where they want to change. And now you have, because of their encounter with you, you have now allowed yourself to be an instrument, as Mother Teresa would say, in the hand of God. And now that person will begin to write a new chapter with their lives. So it's about how do we change the story that people believe about themselves that's been given to them by life, given to them by their circumstances. We learn between ages 0 and 5 what's available for us and what's not available for us. And based upon those experiences and the people around us and our environment, a word formulates in our mind. It's either yes or it's no. A word formulates in our heart. It's either yes or no. It formulates in our spirit. Yes or no. And there's various things that can impact the formulation of that word and the conviction behind it and how we move our lives forward. My goal, if the word is no, is to interrupt that word and to change it to a very affirmative yes.
It's great. I love that. How to have a strong will. Because a lot of speakers are speaking about you have to have will, but how?
Will is, that's why I talk about the mind, the heart, and the spirit. The reason we celebrate Nelson Mandela is that for 26 years, they tried to control his mind, they were able to control his body. But most importantly, they couldn't break his spirit. And so that deep down resolve, that dimension that's available to all of us was explained to us in the book called Man's Search for Meaning, that Viktor Frankl, that there's a part of us that's always a part of us that's in our hands, that the irreducible essence of who you are, that either you say yes or no, not based upon the circumstances, not based upon the pressure that's applied, but based upon your conviction. Are you going to give this the power to take advantage of you? Are you going to turn yourself over to this? We always have that choice. That's the greatest choice that human beings have. Am I going to give myself a pass to surrender, or am I going to stand up? I remember telling a story when I produced my first PBS special in public television of a man who came by a house and there were people on the porch talking, and there was a dog moaning and groaning. The guy was curious, and he went back and he asked the owner, "Why is this dog moaning and groaning?" And the owner said, "Because he's lying on a nail." The guy said, "Well, why won't he just get off?" He said, "Because it's not hurting bad enough for him to get off, just hurting bad enough for him to moan and groan." And so what most people do in life, they have the power to change your circumstances. You are made in the likeness and image of God. You've been given authority and dominion over everything on the face of the earth. But most people rather moan and groan about the situation, show up in their lives as volunteer victims, rather than become actively engaged in doing the work necessary to change their circumstances. It's been said there are two types of people, those who work and those who watch them. So you got to be willing to do your internal work so that you have the mental resiliency, and your external work finds something that you want to master that will allow you to move yourself forward.
Wow. So we have to, the first step is to find what we want to master.
Why are you here? What's your reason for being? Why do you get up in the morning? Most people don't have a clue. To pay the bills, to keep a roof over your head. I think we have to reflect on, who am I? Why am I here? What drives me? If I died today, what 3 words would I want said about me if I died today? You know, what is it that defines me? You know, and how do I define myself? Most people allow their circumstances to define them. as opposed to defining themselves and how they're going to show up in life. And so my mission is to help people to connect with the power they have within, their greatness. When you're pursuing your greatness, you don't know what your limits are, so you act like you don't have any. And when you live from that place, you can now be able to make a greater contribution and make a greater impact with your life because of the fact that you see yourself in a larger context. One of the principles, there are 9 principles that we teach of greatness. The first one is each of us can achieve far beyond our horizons and in avenues of life we have never explored. But most people settle in and accept things in life as it has been given to them, as opposed to rising above that, working to create something that they can feel good about.
It's the first person principle.
Yes.
What are the next?
The next one is we must take responsibility for our actions and our reactions. When you look at your circumstances, George Bernard Shaw said that people look for the things that they want in life, and if they can't find them, they create them. And so when we look at ourselves, it's about doing that. It's about taking ownership for your stuff, for your life. And one of the things I emphasize that changing is not easy. That changing your life, changing habits, reinventing yourself, picking yourself up after life has knocked you flat on your back. I've got to say, when life knocked you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you could get up. Well, that sounds cute, but that's not easy. When I was diagnosed with prostate cancer 17 years ago, that first time that happened, I said, hey, I can handle this. Then when it came back a year later, last year, 17 years later, and this time it metastasized to 7 areas of my body and ate 40% of my T1 vertebrae. Now the stakes are higher. It was just life saying, okay, Mr. Motivator, you beat cancer the first time. What you gonna do now? I started laughing. When the doctor told me, he said, why are you laughing? Are you in denial? I says, no. I said, I feel like Mother Teresa. He said, what do you mean? She said, Lord, I know you know how much I can bear. I just wish you to have so much confidence in me. I said, the stakes are higher. So I've got to dig in and got to fight more. Because at the end of the day, life is a fight for territory. And once you stop fighting for what you want, what you don't want will automatically take over. And so it's a fight. It's a challenge in life every day. And what we have to do is embrace it. What we have to do is see it as a project to be worked on. I read something once that I live by. It said, in life, you will always be faced with a series of God-ordained opportunities, brilliantly disguised as problems and challenges. And so I see even cancer as a gift, as a God-ordained opportunity.
It is a kind of test for you to improve.
It's a test, right? No test, no testimony. Yes.
Wow.
And so you have to be willing to step up and handle it. Anybody can have faith, David. If the bills are paid, if they have their health, the marriage is working out fine, the children acting like they have good sense, they have a lot of money in the bank, a lot of investment. Anybody can have faith under those circumstances. The true challenge of faith is when life knocks on the door. The true challenge when you lose your health, or something happens to someone you care about, or you lose your wealth, or some tragedy happens to you. All of us over the next year will experience at least 3 tragedies. We will experience it personally or someone we care about. Charles Udall said in life, he said, things will happen around you and things will happen to you. But the only things that really count are the things that happen in you. And that's where, that's our domain. That's where we have the control.
Yeah, we choose the answer.
Yes, we did too, and we choose how we're going to respond to this. Will I allow this to get the best of me? Will I allow this to stop me? Am I going to surrender to this? Will I give myself a pass? Will I wimp out on myself? That's always a choice.
I love that. In the speech, just before you said a sentence that I love, can you repeat it about the fact that when it's hard?
If you do what is easy.
Yeah, I love that.
Giving yourself a pass, giving yourself permission to stop. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, your life will be easy. I didn't do what I'm doing now for 14 years because it was hard to make the radical change in my approach, my dress, my learning the language of corporate America, gaining access, developing myself an intellectual resource where corporations will reach over people with years of experience, PhDs and MBAs, and I have no experience and no credentials, and be able to compete with them. It was hard, but we can do hard. All of us have moments in our lives when things have been thrust upon us and we had to do hard. So if you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, your life will be easy. And so don't give yourself a pass. Don't run away from hard because you can do hard. And through that, you discover a part of yourself that you would not know otherwise.
Yeah, you are building your power when you have challenges and when it's hard.
Yes, those things only happen through growth experiences, through challenges. If you go to the gym to work out and you don't feel any discomfort the next day, here's what we know. You haven't done anything. And so you got to challenge yourself. Yeah. And you're going to get hurt. You know, Viktor Frankl calls it unavoidable suffering. Life is full of pain and disappointment. It's a part of the process.
And we are proud of ourselves when we overcome something.
When we overcome things, we discover things about ourselves. No tests, no testimony. No guts, no glory.
Yeah.
And I was doing a broadcast once, and a guy was coming up, and he had crutches. He was coming up to be interviewed by me, and he missed a step, and he fell. It was a very embarrassing moment. And I went down to help him get up, and he said, "Don't feel sorry for me or be embarrassed." He said, "It goes with being a paraplegic. I fall all the time." And so we fall all the time in life. We make mistakes all the time in life.
Yeah.
You know, there's no life without mistakes. Anything that's worth doing is worth doing badly. It's worth doing right if you know how to do it. But if you don't know how to do it, it's worth doing badly until you get it right. All of us are going to follow some tough times. 8 out of 10 millionaires have had to file bankruptcy. It's a part of the process. You go up and go down. And we learn things during the tough times. That's where we really learn things. That's where we begin to discover things about ourselves. Adversity introduces you to yourself. That are part of yourself that you would never know otherwise when things are going real good for you. And so what we have to help people to understand is to maintain a spirit of optimism in spite of their circumstances, to give them hope. Why? Because when there's hope in the future, that gives you power in the present. So my goal is training 100,000 voices of hope who will do 3 things. Help give people hope. That's number 1. Number 2, teach them methods that will help them to develop the desire to reinvent themselves so that they are not replaced by an app or outsourcing. Because this is a time where you have to continuously reinvent yourself to stay ahead of technology and cheap labor around the world. That's number 2. Continuing to work on yourself and growing and developing. And the third thing is to build communities, collaborative, achievement-driven cultures, supportive cultures that will help you to get to the next level. Have a group we call ourselves Cancer Conquerors. And so one goose can fly 75% further in formation with other geese than it can ever fly by itself. So if you got 100,000 voices giving people hope, that's number 1. Number 2, encouraging them to develop their capacity, their skill set. There's no shortage of opportunity. There's a shortage of capacity to take advantage of the opportunities that are available in the global economy. And encouraging people to create communities of collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. We can accomplish anything.
And how can the people and me can contribute to these dreams?
They can email me at yes@lesbrown.com, yes@lesbrown.com, and we'll be set up within a few weeks and send them out some information. But also in the meantime, what we will do is send them a video that as they watch this, they'll see the message that I'm bringing and a format. We're going to be teaching them the 7 principles of storytelling so that they can learn how to influence and impact and change lives, one-on-one, small groups, or in large groups.
Yeah. So with 100 and 1,000 voices, you can make a big difference in this world.
Absolutely, yes. That's the goal, and we want 100,000 voices outside of politics and outside of religion, both of which polarize and divide people. Just everyday people. I'm not an educated guy. If both my parents came in here right now, I would not know either one of them. I'm adopted. I don't have any credentials. I'm just an average person, and I have a desire to make a difference with my life, to live a life of significance, and to live a meaningful life, and to help others who have a desire to do the same thing.
Yeah,